You guys wouldn't happen to remember a video I may have posted 2 days ago where Joe Rogan said that the UFC booked Jon Jones for Tom Aspinall and that they were going to pay Jon Jones $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall to unify the two heavyweight champions we have in the UFC. Well, it turns out we kind of have a change of plans here potentially. Let's look at this video real quick from the Joe Rogan podcast with Theo Von the other day.
Correct something. We were talking about Jon Jones. I had heard a rumor that Jon Jones wanted $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. And I did hear that rumor. And I did hear that the UFC said yes, but it is not true. So Dana contacted me and said that rumor. So I felt obligated to tell everybody that was a fake rumor. I don't even remember who took, because we did that podcast, unfortunately, we did that podcast 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember who told me that.
What do you think the amount is that Jon Jones would fight him for, or do you think it's an amount?
Well, apparently Jon is thinking about retiring.
Yeah.
And he should. I mean, he's going to have to someday. He should. I'm not saying he should retire. I'm saying he should think about it. Give the man all the time he wants. He can fight whenever he wants to fight. That's Jon Jones. He's the GOAT.
Joe Rogan kind of with the pump fake prank here, telling us that this fight was going to be booked for $30 million, and then now Dana White himself called Joe Rogan because everyone's taking a fire to this because everybody's watching my YouTube videos, of course. Right? You guys should subscribe. We're pumping out great quality content every week, multiple times a week. But we'll carry on. So Dana White calls and it's like, Joe, this is not true. So Joe does his due diligence and walks back the news that he spoke about previously, that Jon Jones got his $30 million and is going to fight Tom Aspinall, and instead heard that Jon Jones is thinking about retiring, and then Joe Rogan agrees that Jon Jones should retire. Now, that's quite the narrative change from literally 2 days ago. So let's look into that a little bit. What would happen if Jon Jones retires? That makes Tom Aspinall the immediate heavyweight champion. There wouldn't be any fight for the heavyweight champion since Tom Aspinall is interim champion. Then he will just be the normal champion. You know, he's already defended it. He's already won it. It is what it is, right? Tom Aspinall is the champion, and we will get further into the UFC implications in 2.5 seconds, right? But if Jon Jones retires, then GG's. You know, it's a good career. He goes down as one of the greatest of all time, but to be honest, with a lot of the new age fans, there's going to be a pretty sour taste left in our mouth of him not defending the belt against Aspinall. Whether that's right or wrong, Jon's had a crazy long career. He's been fighting forever, and it's not like he needs this Aspinall win on his resume for anything. And no one's like, oh, Jon has to fight that guy before retirement. Until we went over a whole year, still going, of there being two heavyweight champions, and then him not fighting the heavyweight champion and instead fighting Stipe. I know they had it planned before, but it's going to leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth that he drug on that heavyweight situation like that and just made it play out so long. So it's going to leave a bad taste, but I do think at the end of the day when people look back, it's not going to change his GOAT status. The people who aren't going to call him the GOAT, they're going to use that as their fuel, but those are the people who already didn't view him as the GOAT. I don't think it's going to change anyone who may have been borderline on the fence, because Jon is almost 40, and Jon's career is insane, right? His only loss comes from a DQ loss from a rule that's now no longer a rule. So this doesn't change anything. It just kind of sucks that we don't get to see Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, which probably, as crazy as it is, as crazy big as the Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier 1 and 2 fights were, and the Stipe Miocic fight evidently was so big too. This fight, in my opinion, would be bigger than all those fights. This would be the biggest fight the UFC could put on this year. And it's probably the biggest fight since Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira 1 and 2. And it honestly is probably bigger than those fights. This fight is absolutely massive. There's so much hype behind this fight. There's so much story built into this. All this whole Jon Jones ducking narrative. I personally still think the fight is going to happen. I think if Jon Jones was going to retire, he would already have known he was going to retire. That's just Travis's opinion here, right? I'm not Jon Jones. I don't know at all, but that's my opinion. And, I try to be an optimistic guy. I really want to see this match, so I'm just going to keep my opinion high and hope that Jon Jones fights. All right, so looking at Tom Aspinall's record, these are all of his fights since being in the UFC, and he has won every fight except a Curtis Blaydes fight, which If you guys know about this, he had some really weird like leg nerve injury or something. It was something really weird, and he lost the fight not because of anything technical, but like it literally was a freak accident, and that's how he lost. He even got that win back last year when he beat Curtis Blaydes in July. But so the first couple people are no-name people. Like they're obviously great fighters, but they're not the top heavyweights in the world. And then he beats Sergey Spivak, Volkov, which that win, look at how well that's aging from 2022. Look at the run Volkov's gone on. Arguably beat Gane. We all think he got robbed. He definitely beat Gane. But he beat Pavlovich. Like, Volkov's looking really, really good right now. He beat Marcin Tybura, and then he beat Pavlovich, gets the interim belt, and then he defends the interim belt against Curtis Blaydes, which is insane, as I've talked about earlier in the video. And what should be next is a fight against him and Jon Jones to unify the titles. A little WWE thing. It's kind of weird, but that's what should happen. But in the case that this doesn't happen, it's how we're operating, because if it does happen, we'll get predictions, everything down the line. It'll be a good fight. A way better fight. It's not going to be a blowout one way or other, in my opinion. They're both really good fighters, and it's going to be a really good match. But if we look at the rankings, the heavyweights, so unfortunately as it is, there is not a single other fight to make except Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. And Cyril Gane does not deserve this shot. He got robbed in a win over Volkov. It should be Volkov versus Tom Aspinall too, which would be a really cool fight, seeing how much better Volkov's got. He walks around looking like giant Patty Pimblett when he has those cornrows in. It's actually the coolest thing ever if you guys missed his last fight. But he got robbed against Gane, but there is nobody else for Tom Aspinall to face. I think he faces Cyril Gane next, in which I think he beats him within 3 rounds. I think he beats him via submission. He could beat him via KO, but we saw what happened with Jon Jones versus Cyril Gane, and Tom Aspinall, give or take, better grappler than Jon Jones. I would say no, but people are like, oh, you know, he's this, and that. Like, he's still a way better grappler than Cyril Gane, and probably pretty similar striker. Like, Cyril Gane's striking's really elite, but we've seen Tom's fast. Tom's a good striker. Tom's good grappling. He's got submission games. I think he gets Cyril Gane down and he finishes him on the ground. No diddy. Either with strikes or with a submission. I would probably say a submission if I had to guess. So I think Tom Aspinall wins that fight. And, you know, we're just going to keep going. I think Jailton Almeida fights, I'm pretty sure, this weekend. I'm pretty sure. And I think Jailton Almeida wins that fight. Goes on to fight Tom Aspinall because he's already a 6th-ranked fighter. And it's either him or Volkov. Tom Aspinall fights next, and I think he wins both of those fights. I'm predicting Tom Aspinall, barring, this is assuming Jon Jones retires. I'm predicting him to go on a pretty good title run unless a really good heavyweight comes around. I think maybe the person with the best chance to beat him is a Volkov or a Cyril Gane, but still, in my opinion, Tom Aspinall is in the league with Jon Jones above all the other heavyweights, and that's why we really need this Jon Jones fight now to see who's the better fighter, and then we'll go on from there. But that is my opinion on what happens going forward if Jon Jones retires. If he retires, great career. Tom Aspinall is going to go on a great heavyweight run and go down as the greatest heavyweight of all time for the time being, until someone better eventually will come along. It's how everything goes. It's how every sport goes. But those are my thoughts on the situation. Let me know what you guys think down below. Will Jon Jones retire, or will Jon Jones fight Tom Aspinall, then maybe retire, maybe Pereira? And who wins the Jon Jones-Aspinall fight? Last video has like 40 comments. Shout out to you guys. A lot of people see it both ways. A lot more than the Instagram comments would suggest of Tom just smoking Jon Jones. So I'm really, really interested to hear your guys' thoughts. And thank you for tuning in. Subscribe if you enjoyed your time. And I'll see you guys in the next one.